to protect himself in self-defense, Trayvon Martin, being on top of him and beating his head against concrete, would have finished him off and left him laying on the concrete, just like the 20 black thugs left Mr. Matthew Owens. See, I'm a literalist. I'm a critical thinker. I've had time to analyze and research. And so therefore, thank God for the Second Amendment. Thank God for the right to keep and bear arms. Now, I also talked to Mr. Jamie Birch, and he explained to me that Matthew Owens' front porch has a front door to it that was deadbolted. And roommates were inside. They came to the door and saw the whole thing. Now, obviously they feared for their life. Obviously they feared for their life and would not come to Matthew Owens' aid. Now, I do not say either way to them what they could or could not have done. But I do know this for a fact. It seems to never happen. It seems to never happen to people that take the Constitution of the right of people to keep and bear arms seriously, and they tote their weapons, and they have weapons in their homes. You see, because, again, I say, the only reason I do what I do is because I understand and know the amount of evil that there is on this earth and in this nation that you call the United States of America. Now, that being said, I had rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6 any day of the week, because I know with the teaching, with the training, with the understanding that I have, that I'm not going barking up the wrong tree. I'm not going to bother anybody. Like Cindy and I were talking earlier, I'll give the shirt off my back and the little bit of food that I've got to anybody that needs it. But the fact of the business remains is this. Nobody is talking. Well, maybe they are by now. But these people that live in that neighborhood were scared for their lives that they would be beaten by this sadistic black mob that almost killed, and he may die still. I'm praying he don't. I'm praying Matthew comes out of it and able to tell the whole story. But if he dies, which I hope he don't, then what is going to become of the mob? I guess we'll just have to wait and see if the police in Mobile, Alabama will do their job. I do know the police chief gave a statement that he ain't putting up with that mess down there. Let's give him time. Let's see what happens. But at the same time, I got something I want to quote to you, and I got about 10 minutes here. I'm going to quote something to you real quick. I know all of you have heard of Charles Krauthammer. Now, he works for Fox News as an analyst now, but I don't watch Fox News. I don't have any cable here, okay? Period. I don't have any television cable here. But let me just read something to you. I already read you the words of Jesus. Kingdom against kingdom, ethnic group against ethnic group, okay? He said it's going to happen. Absolutely. But this is from an essay by Charles Krauthammer in 1995, November the 13th, in Time magazine. America is proceeding down the path of diversity and ethnic separatism. America's destination, however, is not Canada, which will find some civil way out of this dilemma. America's destination is the Balkans. Don't you know what happened there? Don't you know what happened there in the Balkans? Ethnic cleansing took place. And let me stop and say this. I got black people that listen to the Endtime Watchman preaching show that have called me and say, Billy, you're dead on the money with the Trayvon Martin case. I've had black after black call me and say, keep doing what you're doing, because he said the thugs and the uneducated people, they think that the white folks are after them, and then the uneducated white folks think the black are after them, and that ain't the case. What it is you've got idiots on both sides. Idiots on both sides. You see. You got idiots on both sides. White, black, doesn't matter. But at the same time, what you got to understand what you got to understand is that there's a bunch of folks that are idiots. And what we have to know and understand is this, that the powers that be that have wanted to keep them uneducated and dumbed down are after only their own agenda. Now, see, here's the thing. Here is the thing. We, or I am, you do what you want to do. I'm just giving you the news. We got to understand that just like not all are going to come to Jesus, not all are going to believe that this is being trumped up to try to separate and destroy people, whatever color they may be. They're going to believe, just because the elites, most of them happen to be white, they believe that all white folks, a group now that is, of blacks believe that all white folks are bad. Then there's a group of whites that believe that all black folks are bad. You see? That's the way they want it kept. But let me just educate you real quick on something. Okay? I will not ever cull skin color if they're coming to mess with my family or me. It doesn't make no difference to me if they're a zebra. If their intention is evil, then it'll be dealt with. And the chalk line and the chalk pad that the police will be drawing out will be for them and not for me. And that will be when they try to break my door down, if it ever happens. Of course, I don't believe the devil's stupid enough to send none of them to me, because he don't want to lose his army yet. You see, we got to understand. We got to understand that whether we believe it or not, there are many cases like Matthew Owens that are never reported because the media is scared to report it, because they'll have the Al Sharptons and Jesse Jacksons on them. You know, you got crime on whites on blacks, blacks on whites. But the problem is they will not tell the truth. They will only cover one side of the story. See, if you take a picture of a zebra, the zebra is black and white. There's no way. If you watch Animal Kingdom or whatever show, the zebra has two colors. So it is with crime in America. So it is. And therefore, why has not the mainstream media covered this story of Matthew Owens, an innocent man on his front porch that was beat critically, almost to death? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because they cannot and do not tell the truth. Their motives are to lie to you. Their motives are not to tell the truth. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Now, that being said, I want you to understand something. Let me read these other two things, and then I'll tell you who these people are, okay? Here's another mention of the coming Civil War in America. In 1995, issue of Forbes magazine, Dr. Thomas Sowell, S-O-W-E-L-L, in an article on affirmative action said this: nor do Americans need to go to the brink of civil war before repealing a policy that has produced polarization and intergroup violence in other countries, including civil war in Sri Lanka. In the New York Post, in 1995 issue in July, Scott McConnell had much to say on this subject. American apocalypse soon. Civil strife is painful, civil war dreadful beyond words in its current direction. However, the United States aggressively multicultural, libertine, and violent in its mass entertainment with its rapidly expanding third world populations and its corporations eager to pull up stakes, transfer jobs abroad, hardly seems to be stable in the long run. Now, for those of you keeping score on those three paragraphs that I read by three different men, Charles Krauthammer and Kaplan are Jews. Thomas Sowell is black, a conservative. Scott McConnell seems to be a white guy. How about that? So here we have different ethnic groups. We have Jews and blacks and whites all saying the same thing, not that they are God, not that they know everything, but the fact of the business remains that there is being brought about a deliberate transformation of the utmost evil and corruption that mankind has ever or will ever experience upon this earth. And it is going to get real ugly before everything wraps up. And I just want you to pray for Matthew Owens, and pray for the Trayvon Martin family, and pray for the Zimmerman family. And I want you to pray that the peace officers will do their job in bringing them thugs to justice. And I pray they're saved before they die and go to hell too. You understand? If you got time and wish to, endtimewatchman.com, 7 o'clock tonight, preaching the fire-filled Word of God. Preaching the fire-filled Word of God. Now I've got to tell you, give me time. One Mr. Endtime Watchman YouTube. One Mr. Endtime Watchman YouTube. Went out today. I've had a busy day. Man, it's been jam-packed. Went out today, made a video for YouTube, and I mentioned a little bit about the case in Alabama. But I ask you, when that gets uploaded, to keep looking for it. Maybe the next day or two it'll be up. Maybe it'll be up. I'm fixing to be running out of time here on this 30-minute news broadcast. But no one understands that we live in a wicked, evil time. And see, the devil is colorblind too when he sends his demons to inner people. They in whites, blacks, Palestinians, Israelis. They're all over the place. Doesn't matter their ethnic group or color. Doesn't matter. When the devil sends his demons to the unsaved, and they're living in sin and wicked, then we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we fighting a spiritual battle, but we're also fighting a physical battle. So I challenge you to look at your neighborhood, know your neighbors, know them among you, and labor with you. Because evil is only going to get worse and worse. Evil seducers will wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But we're not in darkness. We're not in darkness that day should overtake us unaware. We are children of the light of the Most High God. So protect yourself in the spirit by prayer. Protect yourself in the physical. Be trained and ready for whatever comes in the spirit and in the flesh. You have a great day. I'm out of time. I am out of time. Wow, this goes so fast. Y'all have a great day. Thank you all for coming by, the new folks and the regulars. Thank you. Tell everybody about this news broadcast, and I will check you on the flip side. Have a great day.